France. God, I can't talk. It began in 1378, the year after Pope Gregory XI brought the papal court back to Rome from Avignon, where it had resided for almost 70 years due to hostilities between the Roman papacy and the Kingdom of France. When Gregory died, the Neapolitan Bartolomeo Prignano was elected pope with the name Urban VI, 1378 to 1389. He, however, quarrelled with the very college of cardinals that had elected him. They therefore declared his election void and elected a new second pontiff, Pope Clement VII, 1378 to 1404, who re-established the papal court in Avignon and was recognised by Scotland, Castile, Aragon, Navarre, and Portugal. Siding with Pope Urban VI in Rome were Italy, Germany, Bohemia, England, and Ireland, Flanders, Poland, and Hungary. Oh, England and Ireland. The schism continued even after the death of the original rival popes, with the election of Boniface IX in Rome, 1389 to 1404, and Benedict XIII in Avignon, 94 to 1423. The popes in Avignon were called anti-popes. At this time, European efforts to restore the unity of the Roman Catholic Church were growing. Unfortunately, neither the council nor the popes themselves were able to reconcile, as neither side was willing to budge from their demands. In 1409, the dispute escalated to the point that the cardinals declared both popes invalid and elected a third anti-pope, John the 23rd, 1410 to 1415. None of the popes submitted to being dethroned, however. The conflict embroiled the rulers of the various countries involved, among others Sigismund of Luxembourg, who took the side of John the 23rd. The Council of Constance was convened on November the 5th, 1414, to resolve the issue. The council secured the resignations of anti-pope John the 23rd and the Roman Pope Gregory XII, and in 1417 elected a new pope, Martin V, 1417 to 1431, based in Rome. This essentially brought an end to the schism, although there were subsequently two more anti-popes who continued to be supported by a minority, Benedict XV, 14th, and Clement VIII, who resigned in 1429, leaving Martin V once again the sole pontiff. Holy bugger! Oh my god, there's 23 of these. Alright. I mean, I've read 2 tabs. What I could do is do 2 tabs next session, because it's been 30 minutes. Probably been more so like 20. Or I could read these. I don't know how long they are. Some of them are really lengthy. That's the thing. What about characters? There's 17 characters. What I might do then, in that case, is just read the character list and then leave society in general to next session, because my throat is not going to last to read everything, as I thought it would have, but never mind. Right, so we have Albert IV of Habsburg. So he was born 19th of September 1377 and died 14th of September. Holy Jesus, he died when he was 27. Albert IV of Habsburg was an Austrian count, son of Albert III, with whom he fought against King Wenceslaus IV beginning in 1394. He also had disputes with Prokop of Luxembourg over the Czech-Austrian border. Charles IV. Charles IV of Luxembourg, born Wenceslaus, son of King John of Luxembourg, was the second member of the Luxembourg dynasty to become King of Bohemia, 1346 to 1378, and the first to attain the title Holy Roman Emperor, 1355 to 1378. He held many other titles besides Margrave of Moravia, Count of Luxembourg, King of Italy, King of the Romans, and King of Burgundy. Oops. Renowned for his diplomacy skills and erudition, he actively endeavored to consolidate his position and ensure the survival of his line in Europe, especially in Bohemia, Moravia, and Germany. He was well versed in several languages, and at the French court he was tutored by none other than the future Pope, Clement VI. During his reign, Prague and the lands of the Bohemian crown underwent a major transformation, becoming a powerful political, economic, and cultural centre. For this reason, this period of his reign is known as the Golden Age. He initiated the construction of many superb edifices, which thus bear his name, including Charles University, Charles Bridge, and Karlstein Castle. He was keen to emphasize the role of religious faith in society. He renewed the cults of St. Wenceslaus, St. Sigismund, and St. Vitus, consecrating various church buildings to them, among other Prague cathedrals. Among others, Prague Cathedral. My bad. He married 4 times and had 13 children, most of whom died in infancy. The most illustrious of his offspring were his sons Wenceslaus and Sigismund, who both became rulers over the lands of the Bohemian crown. Oh, the Cumans! Oh. The Cumans first arrived in Czech lands in 1260, under the leadership of the Hungarian crown Prince Stephen. They fought against Bishop Bruno and the army of the Austrian lords, which they thoroughly vanquished. The Cumans appeared for the second time in the 1270s, when they defeated the army of King Przemysl Otakar and went on to pillage Moravia. They last invaded the Czech lands under Sigismund of Luxembourg, who could afford no better mercenaries than the Cumans. Estimates speak of several thousand fighters. One of the places that succumbed to their ravages was Silver Skalitz, the birthplace of our game's hero. Jobst of Moravia. So, okay. Jobst of Moravia was Margrave of Moravia from 1375 and Elector of Brandenburg from 1388. He also held the throne of the King of the Romans, although he did not... Oh god. Wow. Although he did so for a mere 15 weeks until his death, 1410 to 1411. He was the son of John Henry of Luxembourg and the nephew of Emperor Charles IV. He achieved his standing in Europe due to military and political intrigues, aimed primarily against members of his own dynasty, particularly Wenceslaus IV, against whom he rebelled along with the Moravian forces and in the so-called Margraviate Wars. He initially supported Sigismund of Luxembourg's efforts to seize the Bohemian crown, but in 1403 he began opposing him, and together with Albert IV, Duke of Austria, took part in a rebellion against him. His previous support for Sigismund was probably motivated more by self-interest. It ensured him future influence as long as it seemed that Wenceslaus would be disposed, and Sigismund, or even Jobst himself, would take his place. His campaign against Wenceslaus won him and other nobles many privileges. Then, in 1402, when the situation changed, he rebelled against Sigismund and was even instrumental in liberating Wenceslaus from captivity. We don't know whether the change was due to cunning or conscience, but to the end of his life, he remained surprisingly loyal to Wenceslaus IV. Towards the end of his life, he even stood against Sigismund in the election of the King of the Romans, and won. He didn't enjoy the crown for long, though, and died shortly after. Jobst was not only politically astute, but also a very thrifty governor. Many rulers, including Sigismund himself, were financially indebted to him. In his day, it was said that it was Jobst, and not either Wenceslaus or Sigismund, who was the true uncrowned sovereign of Bohemia. At the time our game takes place, however, he was in debt up to his ears. Oops. We have Sigismund of Luxembourg. That's a lot of text. Sigismund of Luxembourg, son of Charles IV, was King of Hungary and Croatia from 1387, King of Germany from 1411, King of Bohemia from 1419, and King of Italy from 1431. He was also Prince of Silesia from 1419, Margrave of Lusatia, I don't know how you say it, and most notably Holy Roman Emperor between 1433 and 1437. At an early age, he was sent to be educated at the Hungarian court, quickly mastering the tough conditions of politics. Like other members of his family, he was abducted at least once, in his case by the Hungarian nobility. Having lost faith in the Hungarian nobility, he turned his attention to Bohemia, and became engaged in hostilities with his half-brother Wenceslaus. Some of the Bohemian nobility welcomed Sigismund, hoping he would rid them of their ineffective monarch, while others sided with Wenceslaus, resulting in long-lasting wars, in the course of which Sigismund and his Hungarian army, consisting in no small part of Cuman mercenaries, repeatedly pillaged Bohemia, often with the help of the Bohemian, and especially Moravian lords themselves. Sigismund fought not only to seize his brother's throne, but also against the Hussites, with the aim of seizing the imperial crown. He regarded himself as a defender of Christianity, and in 1409 even founded the Order of the Dragon to wage war against all enemies of Christian faith. One of the later members of the order was the infamous Vlad the Impaler, inspiration for the fictional Dracula. After the death of Wenceslaus, Sigismund brought to Bohemia 4 unsuccessful crusades against the Hussites. He died soon after the signing of the compacts, a set of agreements with the reformers guaranteeing freedom of religious belief to every inhabitant of the lands of Bohemia and Moravia. And Sir Marquard von Aulitz, the Bald Man. He was the hetman or governor of Prague, who, much like those members of the nobility, disgruntled with the reign of Wenceslaus IV, saw in Sigismund of Luxembourg a better potential king. Their motivation had more to do with money and power. Wenceslaus offered them no prospects, while supporting Sigismund promised them a better future position in society. And we have the Ronov family. One of the oldest and most notable of Czech aristocratic dynasties, the family expanded into numerous branches over generations, such as the lords of Dauba, Berka, and Lichtenberg, Zinets of Renault, and so on. In the 13th and 14th centuries, the family split into the lords of Lipa, the Lichtenbergs, the lords of Dauba, and the lords of Kligenstein and more. The oldest known member of the dynasty was the late 12th century Smil Svetlik of Tuhan. His descendants carried high office at the royal court, thus acquiring considerable tracts of land, from which they acquired the family name from Rono in the Zitava region, in the Nace River Valley in the present-day Poland. Renault Castle of the same name, south of Keska Lipa, was built only at the end of the 14th century. The Renault family is represented by one of Kingdom Come Deliverance's characters, Hanush of Lipa. Yeah, Hanush. There he is, Sir Hanush. Following the death of, we don't know when he was born, of Gindrik III of Perkstein, Henry III of Perkstein, in 1402, Hanush of Lipa became the guardian of the former son. Oh. Okay, Hans Capon. That makes sense. Okay. And thus the acting governor of the surrounding province. He completed the construction of Perkstein and its fortifications and the loyal church of St. Matthew, which contains a shrine to his family. When Sigismund of Luxembourg invaded and burned Skalitz, the town's burgrave, Radzig Kobyla, and the survivors of the raid found refuge with Hanush. Hanush subsequently took action against scattered groups of brigands and Cumans. His relationship with the king was peculiar to say the least, judging by often contradictory sources. It appears that in 1410, crown forces descended on the town of Ratai in Hanush's domain, probably after he became a robber baron and rebel, who may also have participated in the siege of Jihlava in Moravia. Nevertheless, in 1414 he became a provincial marshal and dwelt together with his wife, Markita of Sternberg, and Spilberg of Brno. At Spilberg in Brno. Never mind. The Lords of Talmberg. The coat of arms of the Lords of Talmberg consists of two water lilies, or water lily leaves, argent silver, on a field jewels? Either way. The dynasty dates back to 1291, when Talmberg Castle was under the administration of Willem, son of the then Prague burgrave, Frosnata of Ujits. Okay. His descendants later owned estates in South and East Bohemia, including Slatinany, Milicin, and the area around Kaslav. Some of the Talmberg lords achieved such influential posts in administration as burgrave or magistrate. Cool. Wait, we have Sir Divish. Oh, Divish! Sir Divish of Talmberg. Oh, okay, Sir Divish of Talmberg owned Talmberg Castle in the years 1390 to 1415. In 1391, the castle was conquered, and Divish was taken captive and by his neighbour, Havel Medic of Waldeck, though we no longer know how the dispute arose between them. Due to the king's inability to settle the matter, Divish was imprisoned in his own castle for 7 long years, while his young wife Stephanie attempted to raise the ransom to free him. God. Thanks to the help of his friends, Radzig Kobyla, he was finally liberated, and Medek was condemned for his actions as a rebel. From 1400 onwards, Divish held the office of Prague burgrave, and in 1401 moved his seat to Prague. Meanwhile, Talmberg Castle was repaired and he gave it to his wife. Divish returned there in 1414, and in 1418 his son, Aldrich, governed the estate. According to some sources, Divish died in 1415, while others attest that in 1418, Jan Jankovsky sold him Yankov Castle, where the Talmberg family lived until 1702. Divish had 3 sons, Aldrich, Willem, and Michaelis, who governed Yankov from 1433 onwards. We have William of Talmberg and Millicin. In 1297, the head of the provincial court, the direct founder of the Talmberg branch, and a direct bearer of the Hrosnata coat of arms, the Hrosnata family was one of the few that did not directly engage in war against the king, so did not forfeit property. He founded Talmberg Castle. He had 2 sons, Divish and Nezamiles? Mizzle? Wait, how many? God damn, there's a lot more to read. Pope. The Pope is the supreme head of the Roman Catholic Church, Jesus Christ's deputy on earth, and cannot be removed from office. His word is regarded by the Church as infallible, equivalent in effect to the Holy Scriptures. At the time of our game, however, nothing was quite so straightforward. Due to the papal schism that lasted from 1378 to 1417, there were for a time as many as 3 rival claimants to the throne of St. Peter. For secular rulers, support for one claimant or the other was often less a question of faith than of political convenience. Pope Benedict XIII. Benedict XIII, born Pedro de Luna, was elected antipope in 1394 in Avignon. He had previously withdrawn his allegiance to the Italian Pope Urban VI, who represented the Catholic Church in Rome. So we have Pope Boniface IX, born Pietro Tomicelli, was pontiff from 1389, contemporaneously? Not a clue. With the Avignon anti-popes Clement VII and Benedict XIII, he refused to abdicate, leading not only to a continuation of the Western Schism, but also to an ever-deepening rift in the Church. However, it also meant that Boniface had a growing influence on some important aspects of secular power. So, Pope Clement VII, born Robert of Geneva, was the first anti-pope elected by the French cardinals in the opposition of the Roman Pope Urban VI. As an expression of their disagreement with the Italian pontiff's decision to remove the seat of papal power from Avignon, as well as his views that the clergy should lead a more austere and virtuous lifestyle, this event caused the Western Schism, which split the papacy. Urban VI. Okay, this one's a bit longer. Urban VI, born Bartholomew Prignano, was quickly elected pope under pressure from the Roman people to have a citizen of the city on the papal throne, and the papacy returned there from Avignon, to which it had been relocated at the beginning of the century by the French king. Urban truly did begin to rule from Rome, and once he took office, also to criticize the cardinals for accepting gifts from rulers and living in luxury. This made him many enemies, so shortly thereafter the French cardinals declared his election invalid and elected a new pope, who once again ruled from Avignon. The new pope declared Urban to be the Antichrist and excommunicated him. This led to the Great Schism, financially, theological and political duality, and chaos throughout Europe, but each ruler had to declare which pope they recognized as head of the church. And finally, Wenceslaus IV. There are still like 25 entries that I have to unlock, but whatever. Wenceslaus IV of Luxembourg was the son of the highly successful monarch Charles IV. He inherited the Bohemian throne and attained the German crown by election. However, he did not inherit his father's predisposition for ruling. Already during his lifetime, he was known for being a weak, idle, and moody ruler who was afflicted with many ailments, as well as difficulties meeting his royal obligations, despite the fact that he had been groomed for rule since early childhood. He was crowned Bohemian king at the age of only 2 years. He was more interested in hunting, alcohol, courtesans, and pleasures of the court. During his time as king, the lands of the Bohemian crown underwent several wars and conflicts involving his relatives, his own brother Sigismund and his cousins, the Moravian Margraves. The event that triggered the Margraviate War, I don't know how you say that actually, was that Wenceslaus occupied the vacated estates of the Olomouc Archdiocese, which by law belonged to the nobles. Under the leadership of Jobst, the Moravian lords joined with Sigismund in open revolt against the king, which had less to do with the Olomouc estates than with the legitimacy of the rule of Wenceslaus, who in the meantime had been stripped of the imperial crown by the imperial electors for his incompetence and unwillingness to rule. Later he also lost the power of the Bohemian crown when he made numerous concessions and awarded the nobles many privileges, de facto transferring the ruling power to them. His unwillingness to meet obligations resulted in his abduction twice thereby removing him from the throne, first in 1394 by the Czech nobles and then in 1402 by his brother Sigismund. Wenceslaus initially supported the reform proposals of Jan Hus and his adherents, but he did nothing to save the reformer's life when he was sentenced to be burned at the stake by the church. He thus set in motion what was later to become the largest and only more or less successful popular revolt in Europe, the Hussite Wars. However, he did not live to see these events since he died in 1419. After his death, his brother Sigismund of Hungary seized the crown, but he had to fight for it since not everyone acknowledged his claim, and once he had the crown, he did not live to enjoy it for long. Ah, my voice. It hurts. It hurts. God, it really does. It really quite hurts. Bloody hell. Bloody Nora. Alright, that's done. What time are we? We're at 12. Why can't she take these? Ding. Ding. I also forgot that I have a thing. I ended up getting a quest. It was entirely by accident, too. Shit, there it is. It's a side quest, courtship. I was basically just waiting for Bernard to, like, get to the arena, and then what happened was it popped up with courtship, and it was just, Teresa Milopeshek's niece is a good friend of mine from Skalitz. I've known her since we were children, and we've been through a lot together. And it's like, I haven't spoken to Teresa for ages, I should stop by and see her. She's got a lot of work at the mill, though, and only has time before noon. Well, no. I think what I'll do before I do that is sleep for an hour, just so then I've saved after all that reading. It's not really a big deal. It's more so that I can save the progress of my perks. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's what I want to do, just save the progress of my perks. I think I could actually eat one of the pancakes. I don't need to worry, I'm a human dustbin. So even if they're rotten and covered in all sorts of mold and disgustingness, I can still eat them and be completely nourished. Which is great. Game saved! But to be fair, I don't want to, like, court Teresa now. I'm also just interested in talking to her. So... I was going to do something. Oh yeah, food. Pancake. I got a lot of stuff, actually. The pancakes give me 9. Perfect. Ha! I'm at 100. Woo! Right, so where's Teresa at? Oh, there she is. Yo, Teresa. Yo. Let's talk. We haven't spoken in a while. Ooh, yay. Brought you something. Eh? I want to ask about Skalitz.
Have you got a moment? I'd like to ask a few questions about Skalitz. I don't remember much.
All right. What do you want to know?
Holy bloody hell. How did you... Okay, yeah.
How did you get me away from Skalitz?
It wasn't easy. Sir Robard and his men helped load you on a wagon and we harnessed an old nag the bandits had left behind. The soldiers escorted us all the way here, God bless them.
Oh, well. Also, while I have all of these play out, what I'm going to do is have a drink because my throat is actually hurting. So I will be right back while we go through all of this dialogue.
What about the bandits?
Sir Robard and his men routed them. They killed the few, but the giant who attacked you fled, and Zbyszek with him. It won't be safe in Skalitz for a while yet.
Why would Zbyszek do that? I never thought much of him, but banditry?
He was always a nasty piece of work. It doesn't surprise me he joined them. If you knew what he did to me.
Tell me.
When those Cumans, they call them, when the Cumans came, Zbyszek pushed me out in front of them and fled. He sacrificed me to save his own hide.
That bastard. Where's the sword I had?
You had a sword? It's gone now. Those scum took everything, including your horse.
I don't give a damn about the horse. I stole it anyway. But my father forged that sword for Sir Radzig. I promised father I'd take it to him. I have to get it back.
Well, you can't. Just be thankful you're still alive.
What happened to the other survivors from Skalitz?
They sought refuge in Ratay, and some of the Ratay folk are none too happy about it.
And Matthew, Fritz and Matthias? Johanka? Did they make it?
They're alive. I heard Matthias is at the stud farm in Merhoyed. Johunka is in Sasau, and Fritz and Matthew, well, you know them. They're up to no good somewhere. The only trouble they'll be in is of their own making.
What about Sir Radzig?
Sir Hanush, he's the Lord of Rete. He gave his lower castle to Sir Radzig, a place called Perkstein. Sir Hanush lives at the upper castle. The Skalitz folk have made camp in front of it.
How did you get away from those Cumans?
You're wrong. If it hadn't been for you... When they came to the mill, they slaughtered everyone, and kept me for last. After you distracted them, I fled to the mines to find my brother, but he... My brother was dead, but I owe my life and more to you.
And I owe mine to you. The scales are balanced.
True. I really hate asking about how'd you get away from the Cumans, because I just know it's like, if I didn't whistle, she would have... I'm pretty sure if you don't whistle and save her, or get the Cuman's attention, I'm pretty damn sure she does get raped.
Anymore. Let's leave it be.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It's fucked up, and I hate it. I don't know, like, when it comes to just rape, not in general, but even in games, it makes me feel uncomfortable. Anyway, how have you been?
So, how have you been?
I can't stop thinking about Skalitz.
Oh.
I know. It was hell. But life has to go on. Why not clear your head and try to forget about it? At least for now.
What do you mean?
Do you feel like a walk?
That's not a bad idea.
But I can't do it now.
I've got lots to do right
Knew
now.
it.
But I'd love to go another time. Will you come and see me again?
Yeah.
As her ladyship commands?
You jester.
What a joker. I don't know what the I've brought you something is, because I've done that before, and I've given her a dagger. I'm like, I don't want to give you a sword. Shit. I'd like to know.
I'd like to know...
Ooh, here we go. Yeah, sure.
So, how'd you like it in Ratai?
It's a big town with good strong walls, so I suppose we're safe here. And they took us in our hour of need, but for how much longer? They'll grow tired of us soon enough.
True. What do you think of Hanush?
What do you think of the Lord here, Sir Hanush?
He comes from the glorious line of the Lords of Lipa. Folks say he's a bit hot-headed, but he took us in, so he must be a good Christian.
Who's this Hans cap on?
Who's this Sir Hans cape on?
Cape on,
He's
whatever.
actually the real Lord of Rete, and Sir Hanush is only his guardian, because Sir Hans is underage and his father is dead. Folks say he's a spoilt young pup with an eye for the lasses.
Yeah, I definitely see that.
How are the Skalitz folk getting on?
But I'd now kick his ass.
They're alive. That's
I'm
the
a
main
brute.
thing. They have shelter, but they're just scraping by. Rete's citizens aren't happy the town is full of beggars who don't look like leaving anytime soon.
It's not our fault our fucking town was raided. Bunch of pricks.
Do you know anything about those Cuman rapists?
Ugh.
About... you know.
They came to Hungary from God knows where, and now they... Well, folk tell awful stories about them. I hope I never see them again.
Usually the story about the Cumans that everybody's on about is they rape everybody and they kill everybody. Well, no, they rape all the women and they kill everyone else. It's awful. It's just not very nice. Right, I could pay Peshek back, because I do have the 50 groschen, but I'd rather not, and instead, we'll go and do the task he says, which is to go to the executioner and get the ring. Oh no, it's to go to the executioner's... Ooh, you're a tanner. Ooh, hang on. I did not know there was a tanner next door. I ended up killing... I didn't kill anybody. Let's not say that. I ended up knocking someone out that had a lot of, like, hides on their person. You also see what I've actually been getting up to. If I do this, I've been picking up a lot of stuff. Right, so, dog skin. I think they'll take it all, because it's not stolen or anything. Do I have any other sheepskin? Okay, I don't. Cool. No, I was more so curious if I had any... What is it? Any herbs. There we go. Or just alchemy resources. But I don't, so that's fine. Right, to the town.